Hey everybody, and welcome back to Count Up to 500. We are on number 7, and this one I am reviewing it. It was commissioned by me to be made. It was made by Mike Ruff. If you don't know who he is, he's a great figure customizer, builds guys completely from scratch. The only credit I can take in this is I kind of gave him the base body, I think, for some of this a little bit. But the head sculpt, I think I gave him the head sculpt too, which I got from Tom Veg, and just an overall great looking figure. And I'm going to talk about the one-time Intercontinental Champion. You can tell by the red boots and the knee pads. Oh man, how many knee pads he had, and thigh pads. Ultimate AHMED Johnson. Now, you might go, well, he looks kind of skinnier there. He was skinny when he first came in. He wasn't like thin, but he was definitely not as bulky. Of course, injuries would kick in, and then of course he would suffer. I think it was like an abdominal issue, and then before you know it, he joined the nation for some reason. Went from a face, like a big baby face, like at least number 2 at one point, got injured, came back, kind of dropped down a little bit, and then they immediately just turned him heel, and then he got injured, so they kicked him out of the nation. Off to WCW he went, where he became Big T, and then just kind of just faded out of existence. I mean, he's still alive. He's got a indie figure coming out here pretty soon. I think he's had a few of those smaller retro style also being advertised, but not in the best books for WWE. So I don't see an elite or a basic. Definitely probably not an ultimate ever for him. So you want Ahmed Johnson? I can say that it's a Booker, or not Booker T. It's definitely a Mr. T torso. You could probably go with Zeus if you wanted to, but he'd have to be you have to find either paint red trunks or accept the black trunks, go with a more nation looking attire. That might give him a little bit. Maybe Bobby Lashley, but that's too ripped. He wasn't that ripped. He was just bulky. Um, and I can't speak too much into what it was to create this person. Of course, he obviously painted and put some actual little. I don't know what those exactly are, but they stick out. You can see they protrude out. They're not painted on. They actually stick out. So this figure, but they're solid. I mean, if I was to pick at them, I could probably pry them off or something like that. But I'm not about to do that. Again, the head from Tom Veg. Painted by Mike. Mike did this whole figure commission. His ultimates usually run up to $200, or 180. I think 180, whereas his elites are like 130. So I just went with the extra, couple bucks difference. This, of course, was commissioned long ago. It just finally arrived about maybe a month ago. When we started working on customs, at first I was very against getting customs. I saw that they've gotten better technology, so I just gave him a list, and we just started working down that list. And Ahmed was always one that I was going to have originally as elite, and then I saw he had done an ultimate version. I was like, I want that in my collection. So it took a while. I had a lot of other stuff happen, a lot of other stuff built before him, but just happy with the results. Again, I'm trying to build pretty much one of everybody, at least that is obtainable. Of course, you're not going to see AOP in here, for instance, because there's just no ultimate torso for that would work for the time being. I tried an Andre, but the vest wouldn't fit over it, and then it just would be way too much. It would be way too much customization. So maybe when they get the Vader, I might redabble into that a little bit, because you can always cover up most of the body. But I digress. Ahmed Johnson Ultimate. Again, I didn't build him, but I can tell you the parts that kind of were made. I remember from looks of it, it's just Mr. T, and then of course the legs were probably Bobby Lashley. So there's a reason why this was so expensive. You had to put a lot of parts together. Of course, a lot of red paint. Boots, you're not going to find any just random lying boots that have those color schemes. Red knee pads are, they're not super rare, but they are uncommon compared to everything else. So to find just some red knee pads, and then of course painting the wrist tape on there, and painting the red bands on there, and of course those little studded little things right there. I don't know where they're from. I don't know where he came up with the idea, but nonetheless, this figure, top notch. Mike Ruff, all the credit in the world for this one. Glad to add him to my countdown at number 7.